Social behaviour is a really complex interplay between your genetic and your environmental factors. Now, both of these things have a really significant impact on the development and the expression of social skills, right? Now, when we look at genetic factors, this refers to the heritable traits that are passed on from parents to offspring. Doesn't matter what species you are, this is the same everywhere. Whereas environmental factors, this encompasses all of those external influences that shape an individual's behaviour and their experience as well. So the things that are happening to them in their environment. Now, the extent to which each of these factors influences social behaviour varies across individuals. It's not the same for everybody, but both of them contribute significantly to the development of social skills and social awareness. So where does that leave us? Well, when we look at genetic factors, these are really thought to play a role in determining the baseline social tendencies and preferences of an individual. So there's a lot of research that has shown that there's certain genes that are associated with specific social behaviours, and these are things like empathy, aggression, sociability. So there's a lot of these genes that are in us, just waiting basically to be activated, and that's genetic. It's been passed on. For example, there's a variant of the oxytocin receptor gene that was found to be associated with increased social sensitivity and empathy in response to emotional cues. So it's important to understand that while we talk about aggression and things like this, it goes both ways. You can be genetically disposed to aggression and sort of negative traits, or you can go the other way and you can be genetically predisposed to empathy and kindness and those kinds of things. There's been other studies that have also shown that there's genes related to dopamine and serotonin, those kinds of neurotransmitters, and these are associated with different aspects of social behaviour, like social bonding, but also aggression. Now, the impact of genetics on social behaviour, it's not as straightforward as that, because it's often influenced and with and by or activated or triggered or made better or made worse by these environmental factors, which all go into this big mixing pot to really shape an individual's behaviour. Now, there is a study that found that the genetic risk for aggressive behaviour, this is important, right? It was only expressed in individuals who experienced childhood maltreatment. Right, so that suggests that environmental factors like early life experiences can significantly modulate the impact of genetic influences on social behaviour. So just because you might be genetically predisposed to aggression, it doesn't mean that it's going to come out. It's these environmental factors that impact it, and they play a really crucial role in shaping an individual's social behaviour and their social awareness. So we know through research that early life experiences such as parental nurturing or exposure to stress can significantly impact our things like social anxiety, social competence, things like that in adulthood, right? So these are things that, they stick around with us for our whole life. There's been other studies, though, let's show both sides, that show that the quality of parental care, which includes warmth, which includes sensitivity and responsiveness, this can significantly impact social behaviour, with children who experience high quality parenting demonstrating more positive social outcomes. So yes, it is true. What we do matters to our kids, and it matters in the long term. This is all about those early life experiences. But on top of that, there's other environmental factors, things like cultural norms, things like social support. These can also impact social behaviour. Now, when we think about it, it's like, well, what can we do to take control of that a little bit? And what we know is people who perceive greater social support have better social skills and are more socially engaged than those who perceive less social support. Now, the important word there is perceive. Perception is reality. So whether or not you think that you are giving people social support, and this is a lot of the time this is the case, it doesn't matter. It matters what the person on the other end thinks, and it matters what they perceive. So we need to take that time to understand whether we're supporting people in the way that they need to be supported. Similarly, you've got cultural norms and expectations which can really massively impact social behaviour. With people who grew up in cultures that prioritise collectivism, they demonstrate different social tendencies than people who grew up in cultures that are more individualistic. So, it's very complex, and the best that we can do is try and be the best version of ourselves, and also try and take the things out of our environment that are causing these things, and make sure that anybody that we're responsible for their development, kids, colleagues, people that work for us, that we are doing the right thing to allow them to perceive the right things and to give them the things so that they can perceive that support. Because despite the significant impact of genetics and behaviour on social and environment, on social behaviour, we can all take steps to improve our social awareness and our social skills. And one way to do this is by engaging in social activities and seeking out social support. So if you don't perceive that there's that social support for you there, you can seek it out. And we know that social engagement and social support can improve social competency, and it can reduce social anxiety. Now, this is not just important for you, this is also for you to think about what other people are going through and what other people are dealing with. Because we can work to improve our emotional awareness and our emotional regulation skills, because these are really critical components of successful social interactions. So there are things that we can do. There are things that already exist in our genetics, ways that we've been raised and the environment that we've been raised. But remember, our brain is very plastic. There's a high level of plasticity there. So there are things that we can take, and as long as we know what we're dealing with, we can find ways to compensate, which isn't always straightforward. Social behaviour, it's a complex interplay between these genetic and these environmental factors, and both of them contribute significantly to the development and the expression of our social skills. So while genetics may play a role in determining our baseline social tendencies, environmental factors like early life experiences, social support, cultural norms, these significantly impact our social behaviour. Remember though, we can take steps to improve our social awareness and our social skills, and we do this by engaging in social activities. Practice, practice, practice. What you practice is what you will get better at. And if we do these things and we work to improve our emotional regulation skills, this helps us to understand and to sort of take control a little bit of that complex interplay between the genetic and the environmental in social behaviour. This is going to help you to produce more positive social outcomes. This is going to help you to improve your overall well-being for yourself, but it's also going to make you more socially aware of others and allow you to think, what are they going through? And just remember, the way that people behave is all just based on their past experiences. So if somebody's coming at you a little bit aggressive and it's a little bit, whoa, I didn't really expect that, just stop and think for a little bit. This isn't about me. This is about them, and what can I do so that they perceive me as being there to support them? I'm not telling you to roll over, because, hey, some people are just jerks, but they're jerks for a reason, and we can always answer these kinds of activities with kindness, with compassion, with empathy, while keeping yourself safe and making sure that we're going and moving into a world where we're a little bit more socially aware, and we can be the best version of ourselves, and we can help others be the best version of them. That's all for today. See you next time.